how AWS stores a file. Okay, how AWS stores a file. So in the last class, I was mentioning that based upon the availability zones, okay, based upon the availability zones that are available in a region, those many number of copies will get stored in the backend. That is what I was mentioning. So let's go and understand that concept in a detailed way. So let's say there is a user, and this user has uploaded one file into the bucket. Okay, here it is a folder, but let's assume it is a bucket. So an account holder, AWS user is there, and this user has created a bucket and he has uploaded a object into the bucket. Okay, he has uploaded an object into the bucket. Now what AWS will do? AWS will store only one copy? No, AWS will store three copies of the same file. Okay, AWS will store three copies of the same file. Now the question is, who is going to tell to AWS to store three copies of the same file? Who is going to tell? We know that it is based upon the availability zone, but there should be a specific feature which is going to tell to AWS that, okay, whenever an user uploads an object into Mumbai region, you have to automatically store three copies of the same file. How you are going to do that? On who is going to tell to AWS? We are not going to define that. Okay, have we defined anywhere till now? When I was uploading the object, have I told to AWS that you need to store only one copy, you need to store only three copies? No, I have not said. So who is going to tell is, there is a concept which is called as storage classes. Okay, there is a concept which is called as storage classes. Now, based upon the storage class, it is going to decide how many copies it has to store. Okay, based upon the concept of storage classes, it is going to be decided how many copies of the same file has to be stored in the backend of AWS. Remember, this is something which we will not be able to access. Whatever the backend files that are available, those files we will not be able to access. Okay, they are all there in the backend. Okay, why they are there in the backend? By chance, if any availability zones gets failed, you don't want to lose the data, or AWS doesn't want users to lose the data. So that's the reason why it maintains multiple copies of the same file. So here I have mentioned specifically three copies because we are in the Mumbai region. If you are there in the North Virginia region, it will store six copies. If you are there in the Osaka region, it will store only one copy. Why? Osaka is the smallest region which has only one availability zone. Right. So now let's understand this concept of storage classes. What are the different storage classes that are available? What is the function of each storage class? All these things we'll be talking about now. Fine. So coming to the storage classes, the entire storage classes in AWS, okay, the entire storage classes in AWS are broadly categorized or broadly divided into four types. Okay, there are 7 storage classes are available, and these 7 storage classes are broadly categorized into 4 categories. Okay, 4 categories. Let me show you those 4 categories. So the first category is called as a frequently accessed, and the second category is called as infrequently accessed. The third category is called as archival, and the last category is called as intelligent tier. These are the 4 major categories of storage classes. Now, how many storage classes I was telling? 7 storage classes. So let me show you what are the storage classes that are available in each category. So coming to the frequently accessed, we have a storage class which is called as a standard storage class. Okay, this is the standard storage class. By default, this will be the storage class whenever you upload the files. Again, don't think much about what is standard and all. I'll be talking in some time. So the first storage class is called as standard storage class, and the second one is called as RRS, that is reduced redundant storage. These are the 2 storage classes that are available in frequently accessed category. Okay, these are the 2 storage classes that are available in frequently accessed category. And then in infrequently accessed, we have a thing which is called as a standard IA. IA means infrequently accessed. Okay, standard IA, that means standard infrequently accessed. And the next one is one zone IA. Okay, the next one is one zone IA. And in the archival category, we have 2 categories. One is called as glacier, and the second one is called as glacier deep archival. Okay, and in the intelligent tier, we have only one storage class that is called as intelligent. Okay, intelligent. Again, here intelligent is a mix of the frequently accessed. FA means frequently accessed, IA means infrequently accessed. So let's understand these storage classes first. Okay, let's understand these storage classes first. So here, what I'll do is to make the better understanding of these storage classes, what I'll consider is I will consider an example that is related to the schools or colleges. Okay, that is related to the schools and colleges. Let me take one school here. Okay, in a school, what kind of data will be maintained related to the students? That thing will be considering. Now, by the name itself, you can see it's a standard frequently accessed. Okay, by the name itself, you can see that it's a frequently accessed. Now, what does it mean by frequently accessed? Frequently accessed is the content which is frequently accessed. Okay, every day you are going to use the data. Okay, every day you are going to use the data. Now, can you tell me? So I'll just give 3 to 4 categories, and then you tell me which is the data that is frequently accessed and which is the data that is infrequently accessed. Now, assume that for a school, we have different sets of data. Okay, for a school, we have different sets of data. Let's say the school attendance is the first category. Okay, the school attendance is the first category. I'll just make it as AT. That means attendance. And the second thing is I'll take the next category as library books. Okay, I'll take the second category as library books. And the third category, I'll be making it as student report cards or the progress cards, you can say. I'll make it as RC. That means report cards. And the fourth category, I'll be making it as old data of students. That is alumni data. Let me make it as alumni data. I'll just erase it. So instead of old data, I'll just make it as alumni data. Alumni means the old students. Okay, alumni related data. Now, can you tell me among these 4 storage or 4 types of data, which is the one that a school or that a college will access most frequently? Which is the one that will be accessed by most frequently among these 4? Every day they have to access one data. What is that data? Can anybody guess? Attendance, and then the second one is library books, the third one is records, the student report cards, the progress reports, you can say, and the last one is the alumni data. Now, among these 4 categories of data, which is the one that a faculty or that a teacher will access every day? Every day teacher should access the data. What is the data? That data is attendance data. Every day, whenever a teacher goes into the class, he will take the attendance book. So here, attendance related data is called as a frequently accessed. Okay, attendance related data is called as a frequently accessed. Every day it will be accessed, and that's why it is called as frequently accessed data. And the next one is library books. Now, the students will go to library or not? Yes, obviously students will go to the library, but will they go on daily basis? Suppose let's take that you are the student. Now, will you go to library every day or will you go to the library only when it is required? Maybe before the exams, or maybe when the semester is starting, or maybe when you need some books, only special times you will go into the library and then you will take the library books. Now, library is some place which is accessed, okay, which is accessed by students, but it is not frequently accessed. Only when there is a requirement, then only students will go into the library and they will access the books or they will take the books. So such data is called as infrequently accessed. Okay, so remember, the library books are being accessed by the student, but what is the frequency of access? It is infrequently accessed. That means only when there are exams, or only when the semester is beginning, or only when the teacher tells to go and take the book, then only people will go and take the books. That's called as infrequently accessed. And the next one is report cards. Now, will a teacher access the report cards on every day? No. Will the teacher ask the report cards, or will the teacher accepts or access the data of report cards on monthly basis? No, not on monthly basis, not on daily basis, not on weekly basis. Now, when the report cards will be accessed by a teacher? Whenever exams are there. Okay, whenever exams are there. Let's say every 3 months exams will happen. Okay, let's say every 3 months exams will happen. Now, in that case, what happens? Only once in 3 months, the report cards of the students are accessed. Such kind of data is called as archival. Okay, such kind of data is called as archival. And especially this is called as glacier archival. Okay, it is called as glacier archival. Again, I'll be talking about that in some time. And the last one is called as alumni data. Now, will a faculty or will a class teacher will access the alumni data every day? No. Every year they are going to access? No. Every 5 years they are going to access? Maybe it depends. So whenever the college wants to keep the alumni meets, so usually the colleges will keep alumni meets every once in 2 years or once in 3 years. So in that cases, they are going to get the details of all the old students, and then they are going to verify the phone numbers, and then they are going to call them, and they'll call all the students and their parents to the college, right? That's called as alumni data. So here, alumni data is something which is not accessed daily, which is not accessed weekly, which is not accessed monthly, which is not accessed tri-monthly. Maybe it will be accessed, let's say, once in 2 years. Okay, only once in 2 years the data is accessible. But whereas the report cards are accessed once in 3 months. Now, can you understand what I'm mentioning here? So frequently accessed, infrequently accessed, glacier and glacier deep archival. Now, let me go and talk about these things with respect to the AWS terminology. I hope you have understood the overall essence of storage classes. How you are going to, based upon the accessibility of the data, you are going to store the files in different storage classes. Okay, you have 7 storage classes here. So based upon your accessibility to the data, you are going to store the files in different storage classes. Now you may ask me, what is the difference between each storage class? There are a lot of differences between each storage class. The most important thing is the price of the storage classes. So price is one of the most important thing that we are going to focus on, right? Apart from files, we'll also be seeing a couple of other factors also, but just focus on the price on a primary level. Okay, fine. So by default, whenever you store a file into the S3 bucket, the standard storage class is the default storage class. Okay, the standard storage class is the default storage class. Okay, it is a default storage class. I'll just make it as default. So the handwriting is might not be proper. It is because I'm writing with the mouse. So it's a default storage class. Now let me show you this storage class first, and then I'll talk about all these storage classes. Okay, fine. So I'll just go to the S3 bucket, and in the S3 bucket, you can see storage class. Can you see a storage class here? Yes, you can see a storage class. Now, by default, which is the storage class that is available here? Standard is the storage class that is available. Now, how to see the different storage classes? For that, whenever you are uploading the files, let me click on upload, and then you have clicked on add files. And then if you go to the permissions or the properties of the files, you can see storage class. I was mentioning about these storage classes: standard, intelligent tiering, standard infrequently accessed, one zone IA, glacier instant retrieval, glacier deep archival, RRS, that is reduced redundancy service or reduced redundancy storage. Now let's understand these things in a different way. Okay, fine. So for that, what I'll do is I have the one particular chart. I hope you are able to see the Word document. So I have listed all the storage classes in the left side. Okay, you can see all the 7 storage classes, whatever that are available. I have listed all the storage classes here. And I am going to talk about each storage class with respect to the storage capacity, with respect to the file format, with respect to the download charges, with respect to the file download time, and with also respect to the storage charge, Fine. So let me come with one by one. So first, let us talk about the standard storage class. Okay, by default, whenever you store a file into an object into the S3 bucket, it will be in the standard storage class only. By default, whenever you upload a file into the S3 bucket, all your objects will be by default available in the standard storage class. Okay, that's the default scenario. Now, coming to the storage capacity of a standard storage class, whenever you store a file in the standard storage class, AWS will maintain more than or equals to 3 files. Okay, it depends on the availability zones. So it depends on availability zones in a region. AWS will maintain more than 3 copies. Okay, AWS will maintain more than 3 copies. Suppose if you are in the Mumbai region, so how many copies will be stored for Mumbai region? 3 copies will be stored. Why? 3 availability zones are there. Okay, in Mumbai region, we have 3 availability zones. So 3 copies of the same file will be stored. Okay, 3 copies of the same file will be stored. That's about this one, the storage capacity. Whenever you upload one file, automatically AWS will maintain 3 copies of the same file in the backend. Sorry, 3 copies of the same file in the backend. Now, does it change the file format when you upload? Now, suppose if you go to the S3 bucket, okay, I have uploaded a couple of files, right? Now, initially I have uploaded some PNG files or JPG files. Now, has it changed the storage? Has it changed the file type? You can see file type. Has it changed? I have uploaded the PNG file and the same file type is also being uploaded. Okay, the same file type is also being uploaded. So in storage class, in standard storage class, the file format will be same as of a original. Okay, the file format will be same as of original file. Even in the backend also, the same file format will be there. So here I have uploaded the PNG file. Now, when AWS is storing the 3 copies of the same file, it will store in the same file format only. Now, if you ask me, okay, AWS will change the file format. Yes, it does change, but in other storage classes. Let's see that in some other time. So the file format will never be changed when you are storing a file in the standard storage class. Whatever the original file, suppose if you are uploading a PDF file, it will store only PDF file. If you are uploading the JPG file, it will store only JPG file. It will not change the file format. So that's about file format. And the second thing is, and the next thing is download charges. Does it charge any amount whenever you store a file in the standard storage class? Suppose, let's say I have stored the file in the standard storage class. You can see the file is available in the standard storage class. Now, if I have to select this file and if I click on download, is it charging me any amount or is it directly getting downloaded? It is directly getting downloaded. So that means there are no storage, there are no download charges when you are downloading a file, especially if it is uploaded in the standard storage class. So there are no download charges or there are no retrieval fee. Retrieval fee is nothing but download charges. Okay. Now, the file download time. In how much time the file got downloaded? Within fraction of seconds. Again, it depends upon your internet connection. So here, by default, the file download time will be very fast. Okay, you can say it as immediate. Okay, the file download time is immediate. As soon as you click on download, the file will be downloaded immediately. Okay, I'll just make it as fast. And minimum storage charge. Is it charging any amount for AWS? AWS is charging you any amount to store these files? No. Till the time you are in the free tier account or free tier capacity, which is 5 GB, it is not going to charge. Once if you exceed the 5 GB of storage capacity, then it will charge based upon your usage. That is called pay as you use. Okay, pay as you use. So suppose if you are storing 6 GB, so whatever the additional amount that comes for 1 GB, because 5 GB is free content or free data, you can use 5 GB. So you are storing 1 additional GB of data. So whatever that additional price that is there, only for that price you are going to, you will be charged. That is called pay as you use. Okay, that is called pay as you use. Right. So that's about the standard storage class. And the next one is RRS. RRS is nothing but what? It is again a frequently accessed category only. Okay, standard is also a frequently accessed category. RRS is also a frequently accessed category. Now, what is the difference between the standard and RRS? Now, here the storage capacity. Okay, the storage whenever you store a file in the RRS storage category or in the RRS storage class, what happens is every year, okay, every year 1.5%. Okay, remember this. Every year 1.5% of files will be lost automatically. Okay, every year 1.5% of files will be lost automatically. That means what is happening here? By default, suppose let's say you are uploading some 10 files. So by the end of year, you will be losing 2 files. 1.5 in, I mean 10%, 1.5% of 10 is approximately 2 files. So by default, automatically you will be losing 1.5% of total files. Okay, every year 1.5% of total files will be lost automatically. By default, what AWS will suggest is AWS will tell that don't use RRS when you want to store any file, because when you store a file by using RRS storage category or storage class, you will be losing the files automatically by the end of each year. Now here, if you ask me which files will be lost, it depends on the file uploaded time. Suppose let's say today you have uploaded 10 files, tomorrow you have uploaded 10 files. So whatever the files that are uploaded very first, that files will be lost. Okay, likewise, the files will be lost based upon the upload time. Okay, based upon the upload time. So by default, whenever AWS suggests is don't store any kinds of files in the RRS storage class. Now, if you might have a question here, then why AWS is providing this storage class? So sometimes company might be storing this kind of data in RRS storage class also. Suppose let's say they want to store they want to store some documents related to the previous employees. Every year they don't want to store all the data of the previous employees. If for a company, every year some thousands and thousands of people will be coming inside the company and thousands of people will be going outside the company. Now, in that case, is it important to store all the data? It is important, but up to a limited time. So in such cases, they are going to store this kind of data, okay, in the RRS storage class. So that's called as frequently accessed RRS, that is reduced redundant storage. And here also, the file format, whatever the original file format that is available, the same file format will be there even in the backend also. The file format will not get changed. Okay, the file format will remain same. You don't lose the file formats. Whatever if you are uploading PDF files, it will store PDF files. If you are uploading .excel files, it will upload only, or it will store only the Excel files. Whatever the file type, it will upload only that. And in RRS also, there are no charges for storage. Okay, there are no charges for the download, not storage. Okay, there are no charges applicable for the downloading of the files when you store in the RRS category. And the file download time is also immediate. It is also fast in the RRS storage class. But when it comes to the storage charges, it will be like pay as you use. According to your usage, you're going to pay. If you are using within the free tier limit, then you will not be charged. If you exceed the free tier limit, then you will be charged. Likewise, the files will be stored. Okay, the minimum storage charge will be available in the RRS category. That's about RRS storage class. And the next one is intelligent type. Okay, the next one is intelligent type. So what is this intelligent type is, I was telling intelligent type is a mix of frequently accessed and infrequently accessed. Okay, intelligent type is a mix of frequently accessed and infrequently accessed. Now here, what AWS will do is AWS will store the 3 copies of the files based upon the availability zones. There is no problem with the storage capacity. Whenever you upload one file based upon the availability zones that are available in a region, then it will store the files. Okay, it will store the files. If you are storing in Mumbai region, then it will store 3 copies. If you are storing in North Virginia region, it will store 6 copies. There is no problem with the storage capacity. But there is one problem with this. Here, you cannot logically define an intelligent type. So what AWS will do is AWS itself will decide. Okay, AWS itself will decide whether a file can be accessed frequently or whether a file can be accessed infrequently. So this is nowhere in our hands. Okay, intelligent type. Whenever you want to store a file in the intelligent type, AWS will do the work for you. It will not ask you to do the work. What is that work is AWS itself will decide whether a file is a frequently accessed file or infrequently accessed file. Okay, AWS itself will decide whether it is a frequently accessed file or infrequently accessed file. So by default, what I personally suggest is never store a file in these 2 storage classes, either it in RRS or it in intelligent type. Okay, never store a file in these 2 storage classes, because in this case, in RRS, the files will be lost or the data loss is happening here. But whereas in the intelligent type, AWS is deciding the work for you. So we don't want AWS to decide. So whether it is a frequently accessed or infrequent, we can define whether the file is frequently accessed file or infrequently accessed file. So I would say better don't go with these 2 storage classes, RRS and intelligent type. And coming to the file format. Okay, coming to the file format, here also the file format will not be changed. It will be the original format, whatever you upload, the same format will be there here also. Okay, the same format will be there here as well. And coming to the download charges, here the download charges are not applicable, and the download time is also very fast, and the minimum storage charge is based upon pay as you use. Okay, similar to the previous two cases, it will be like this only. Okay, in the intelligent tire also. Now comes about the standard infrequently accessed. Okay, now here what is happening? Are you accessing the data frequently? No, we are not accessing the data frequently. But are you storing the files in the AWS cloud? Yes, we are storing the files. Suppose, let's say you have a library in the college. Now, college will have a separate library room, right? Will they tell that, okay, we have kept all the library books in one separate room, so you just go into that room and you just we'll just open whenever you need, so that you can access the file. Is it like that? No, it is not like that. So though the files are infrequently accessed, they have to be stored in a proper place. Okay, though the library books are not frequently accessed by students, library room should be there. A separate room should be there for books, and a separate team of people should be there in the library. So here, what is happening? Though you are not maintaining the library, you are not accessing the library books, college is paying to the library staff or not? College is going to pay the salaries for the library staff. They are not going to tell that, okay, so since no students are coming on Monday and Tuesday, we will not pay you the salary for Monday and Tuesday. Is it acceptable? No, it is not acceptable. So the charges are applicable here. Okay, the charges are applicable here. So here, when it comes to the storage capacity, here also in the standard infrequent access, it will be stored in based upon the availability zones. Okay, based upon the availability zones, the files will be stored. And the file format also will never get changed. Okay, the file format also will never get changed. It will be the same format. Do you have the same books every year or not? Yeah, you will have the same books every year. But the problem comes here, that is download charges. So here the download charges are applicable. Why charges are applicable? Because AWS is giving some space in its cloud to store the files. Though you are not accessing the files, you are storing in the AWS cloud. That means you are using the storage capacity of the AWS cloud. So for that, it is going to charge. Okay, for that, it is going to charge. That is why in the standard infrequently accessed storage class, the charges for downloading is applicable. Okay, the charges for downloading is applicable. And coming to the download time, it is very fast. Okay, it is more like the previous three cases. The download charges are fast. Now, coming to the minimum storage charges. Okay, minimum storage charges. Here, once when you store a file in the standard infrequently accessed, doesn't matter how many days you are storing, you have to pay for 28 days charge. Okay, you have to pay for 28 days charge. Whatever the charge that is applicable for 28 days, that charge you are going to pay. Suppose, let's say, let us take it in this way. For 28 days, it is charging you some 200 rupees. Again, this is just a blind example. So for 28 days, it is AWS is charging you to have or to pay 200 rupees. Now, let's say you have stored the file for 2 days. Even if you are storing the file for 2 days, you have to pay 200 rupees only. Even if you are storing the file for 27 days, you have to pay 200 rupees again. Doesn't matter. Within this 28 days, how many ever days you want to store, the price is same. The price doesn't get changed. Now, suppose, let's say you are going to store a file for 29 days. Okay, you're going to store the files for 29 days. Now, how much amount of charge you are going to pay? Every 28 days, the charge is 200 rupees. Now, you are exceeding 28 days. That means one day additional it is coming. So that means how much amount of rupees you have to pay? 400 rupees. 400 rupees you have to pay. If you store for 28, double of 28 is 56 days. If you store for 55 days also, you have to pay the same 400 rupees. Doesn't matter. Suppose, let's say you have stored the files for 29 days and on the 30th day, okay, on 30th day, you have deleted the file. Okay, on 30th day, you have deleted the file. Even if you delete the file on the 30th day, you have exceeded the original storage class data, or you have exceeded the original storage, the file format. So here you are exceeding the storage category, that is 28 days. So you have to, even if you delete the file on the 30th day, you will be charged to pay 400 rupees only. Okay, you will be charged to pay the 400 rupees only. Here the price is fixed. Okay, here the price is fixed. It's something like you are taking a house. Doesn't matter how many number of people comes to your house, you are going to pay the fixed rent. Okay, you are going to pay the fixed rent. That's called as the standard infrequent access. I hope that is clear now. Right. And the next one is one zone infrequent access. Here you can see by the name itself, it is telling one zone. That means whenever you upload a file, okay, whenever you upload a file, by keeping the storage class as one zone, then what AWS will do is AWS will store only one copy of the file. Okay, AWS will store only one copy of the file will be stored. Why? Because you are by default, you are telling that, okay, I don't want the 3 copies of the same file. I want you to maintain only one copy of the file. So that's where one zone IA is applicable. So when you want to store the files only in one availability zone, then you can use this one zone IA. Okay, then you can use this one zone IA. But here coming to the file format, it will not get changed. Whatever is the original format, the same file format will be there. But when it comes to the download charges, here also the charges are applicable for downloading the content. Why the charges are applicable? Because you are telling to AWS to store the copy only in one availability zone. Okay, only in one availability zone, you are telling to AWS to store the copy. That means in that availability zone, AWS has to allocate you some space. Okay, only in one availability zone, it has to allocate some space for you. So for that, it will be charging. Okay, for that, you will be charged. And here, the file download time is immediate. There is no problem with the file. Sorry, there is no problem with the file download time as well. It is also immediate. But the charge is the same, which is 28 days charge. Okay, whatever the charge that is applicable for 28 days, you have to pay the same charge here. Okay, the charges are same for standard infrequent access and one zone infrequent access. The charges are same. That is 28 days charge. And then comes the glacier. Okay, then comes the glacier. So here in the glacier also, AWS will maintain 3 copies of the same file. Okay, AWS will maintain 3 copies of the same file. But here the file format will get changed. Okay, the file format will get changed. So let me tell you one example here. File format will change. Now, what is a glacier? In a general terminology, what is a glacier? Suppose we all have seen the icebergs, glaciers. Now, how the glaciers are formed? Initially, you will have the water. Now, when you defreeze that water, suppose let's say you have taken a glass of water and you have kept in a defreeze. Now, will the water will be available in the liquid state or will it be available in the ice state, that is in the solid state? So the water is no longer available in the liquid state. It will be available in the solid state. You will get the ice cubes. So here also, whenever you are uploading the files, suppose let's say you have uploaded some PDF documents. Now in the glacier, what it will do is whenever you are uploading the files in the back end, what it will do is it will zip those files. It will compress those files. Okay, so it will compress those files. That's called as zip format. Okay, the file formats, the original files will be compressed. Okay, will be compressed into what category? Into the zip format. We all know the zip format, the zipping of the files. Okay, so the original files, whatever that are there, it is going to zip those. Why it is going to zip them? Are you going to use Ice Cube every day? No. Whenever it is required, you are going to use them. So that's why it is going to zip all those files. Okay, whenever you are going to store, it will zip all the files. Now, in general, whenever you are using the zip files, suppose let's say the 10 PDF files you are uploading. Okay, 10 PDF files you are uploading. And the size of 10 PDF files is, let's say, 100 MB. Okay, the size of 10 PDF files is 100 MB. In general, I'm talking here. Now, when you compress these 100 files, okay, when you compress these 100 files and when you make it to zip file or when you make it as a zip file category, now, will you have the same 100 MB or will the size of the file gets decreased? By default, whenever you zip a file, the size of the file gets decreased. Maybe let's say here the file size is getting decreased to 100 MB. Okay, the file size in general also it will happen in this way. You just try to zip some large size of files, then whatever is the original size of file, when it zips, it will not be there in the same 100 MB. The file size will get reduced. That is what happens in the zip format whenever you compress a file or whenever you compress a set of files. Now, here AWS is also going to compress all your files. Okay, AWS is also going to compress all your files. But when you want to download, okay, when you want to download the files which are compressed, okay, the files which are compressed, then the charges are applicable. Okay, then the charges are applicable. But here the charges are much greater than, okay, charges are applicable. Let's say it as high charges. Okay, for all these two cases, let's say it as medium charges. Okay, let's again, it is just for our understanding. So I'm just mentioning it as medium charges. And here also it is medium charges. But when it comes to Glacier, it is charging high charge. Okay, suppose let's say if you want to store a file in the Glacier, okay, if you want to store a file in the Glacier storage class, suppose 10 PDF documents, it is charging you some 100 rupees. Okay, it is charging you some 100 rupees, right? That's how you have to pay in the Glacier archive, Glacier storage class. Now, the file download time. Okay, coming to the file download time. So here, the file download time is not immediate. Okay, the file download time is not immediate. So here you have to specify. Here you have to specify in how many days the file has to be downloaded. So here you can give, or we have this option called from 5 minutes. Okay, from 5 minutes to 12 hours you can give. So 5 minutes is the minimum download time you have to wait, and 12 hours is the maximum download time you have to wait. Suppose let's say you want to download these 10 PDF documents, whatever I have uploaded, you want to download all these 10 PDF files. Now, at least you have to wait a minimum of 5 minutes to download the files. Okay, you have to wait at least 5 minutes to download the file. Now, can anybody guess why it is taking this time, or why it is giving some 5 to 12 hours of time? What is the reason for that? The reason is very simple here. So all the files are available in the zip format. So when you give the download request to AWS, now AWS will not send you the zip file. Okay, AWS will not send you the zip file. It will unzip all the files, or it will unzip all the documents, and then it will send you the files. Okay, it will not, while storing, AWS stores in the zip file format. But whenever you ask to download the files, AWS will not going to send the zip files. Whatever the original files that you are going to store, and the original size will also be the same. Only when it is storing, the size, the file format and the size of the files will get changed. But once when you ask to download, the original files and the original size will be the same. It will not change the original files, and it will not change the size of the original files. So that is why it is giving you some time, like you have to wait a minimum of 5 minutes unto a maximum of 12 hours. Okay, you have to wait a minimum of 5 minutes and a maximum of 12 hours. Now, here the charges are applicable in a different way. Okay, here the charges are applicable. So suppose let's say you have given the file download time as a 5 minutes, for example. Okay, for example, you have given the file download time as I want the file to be downloaded by within 5 minutes or by the end of 5 minutes. Now, in that case, the high charges are applicable. So the minimum the time that you are giving to download, then higher will be the charges. Suppose let's say when you give 5 minutes, the charge is something like, let's say 500 rupees. Okay, let's say it has 500 rupees. Now, when you give the download time as 12 hours, okay, when you give the download time as 12 hours, then in that case, the charges will be less. Okay, that means let's say it has 100 rupees only, it will charge. So based upon the time that you are going to specify, the charges are again varies. Okay, based upon the time of download, the charges will get varied. So that's something, the download time. So based upon the download time that you are giving, the charges are applicable. Okay, but the minimum time you have to wait is 5 minutes, and the maximum time you can wait is 12 hours, not less than 5 minutes and not more than 12 hours. That's the minimum time and maximum time you have to wait in order to download the file. Now, what is the download? What is the storage charge? How much amount of bill you have to pay? So here in the one zone IA and the standard infrequent access, you are paying 28 days charge. But whereas in the Glacier, you have to pay 90 days charge. Okay, you have to pay 90 days charge. Doesn't matter whether you are storing for 2 days, 5 days, 89 days, doesn't matter. You have to pay for the 90 days. Whatever the charge that is applicable for 90 days, you have to pay that entire charge. Suppose, let's say you have stored the file for 91 days. Now, in that case, suppose, let's say for 90 days, it is charging something like 100 rupees again. Okay, it is charging something like 100 rupees. Again, these numbers are just for our reference, not for in a real case. So 90 days, it is charging you 100 rupees. So if you store the file for 91 days, then you have to pay 200 rupees. Okay, then you have to pay 200 rupees. So that's how the storage charge gets changed based upon the number of duration or based upon the days. 90 days charge you have to pay. And the next one is the Glacier Deep Archival. Now, in the Glacier Deep Archival also, the number of copies will not get changed. Okay, the number of copies will not get changed. But whereas the file format, okay, the file format here also it is a zip format. But the difference between the Glacier and Glacier Deep Archival is the original files will be deeply compressed. This is the important word. The original files will be deeply compressed. What does I mean by deeply compressed? Deeply compressed means, suppose in Glacier, the original file size is 100 MB, and when it is compressing, the size of the file is getting changed to 70 MB. But whereas in the Glacier Deep Archival, the same documents, everything is same. Okay, the same original files, everything is same. But here what happens is, instead of 70 MB, it is doing the deep compress. Okay, it is doing the deep compress. Then the file size will get much lesser. Okay, it will be the original file size will be 100 MB, but when it is storing, it is going to store 40 MB of data. Okay, it is going to store 40 MB of data. So that's how the deeply compressed represents. Okay, that's how the deeply compressed means. And here also the charges, that is download charges, are also very high. Okay, the download charges are also very high. You can say it as high or very high, anything is fine. Okay, there is no much difference between the download charges of Glacier and Glacier Deep Archival. They are almost the same. But here the file download time is different. Okay, here the file download time is different. So here 12 hours is the wait time. So 12 hours is the wait time. You cannot change. Here you have the option to change the time between 5 to 12 hours. You can change. You can give any time. But here, when you do Glacier Deep Archival, or when you store a file in the Glacier Deep Archival, 12 hours is the storage time. 12 hours is the wait time to download the files. So here, the thing which we have to remember is we cannot change. Okay, we cannot change the file download time. Okay, we cannot change the file download time. It is fixed, which is 12 hours. Now, if you ask me, when we'll go for this Glacier and Glacier Deep Archival, this is one common doubt. When we'll go for this Glacier and Glacier Deep Archival? Suppose, let's say, if you are storing a file in the standard storage class, let's say in the standard storage class, it is going to charge some 500 rupees. Just for assumption again, okay, it is going to charge some 500 rupees. Now, in the Glacier Deep Archival, how much you are going to pay? You are going to pay based upon the number of days. In the Glacier and Glacier Deep Archival, you are going to pay based upon the time and based upon the number of days, right? So here, the file storage charge or the minimum storage charge is you have to pay 180 days charge. Okay, you have to pay 180 days charge. Whatever the charge that is applicable for 180 days, that charge you have to pay. Right? So that's about the entire storage classes and their categories of the different files based upon the storage capacity, file format, download charges, file download time, and minimum storage charge. So usually whenever we store a file in the AWS cloud, especially in the S3 buckets, all those files by default will be a standard storage class. Okay, all those files by default will be a standard storage class. Now, sometimes you don't want the files to store in the standard RRS or standard IA or one zone IA. Sometimes you might want to store the files in Glacier Deep Archival. Now, suppose what kind of files we are going to store in Glacier and Glacier Deep Archival. Suppose, let's say, every financial year. Okay, let us consider financial year 22-23. So what they will verify in the financial year, by the end of financial year, all the finance related documents will be verified. Okay, finance related documents will be verified here. Now, when they are verifying the finance related documents, are they going to verify every month? No. The financial year or the end of financial year, they are going to verify all these finance related documents. So these are the documents which are not going to be accessed frequently. These are the documents, they will be accessed only once in a year. In such cases or such kind of documents, you can store either in Glacier or Glacier Deep Archive. What is the advantage of storing these kind of files in the Glacier and Glacier Deep Archival? Here, the amount or the charge that you are going to pay is for fixed number of days. Okay, it is for fixed number of days. So let's say it has 90 days, let's say it has 180 days. So based upon the number of days that you are going to charge, that you are going to store, you will be charged based upon the number of days. Here, is it like pay as you use? No, it is not like pay as you use. Doesn't matter how much amount of data you are going to store, you will be paying for 90 days only. Okay, you'll be paying for 90 days only. Doesn't matter whether it is 10 GB file or 1 TB file or 2 TB file, doesn't matter. You will be paying the size, you will be paying the charge based upon the number of days that you are going to store. But whereas in the other storage classes, that is standard RRS intelligent tier, how you are going to how you are going to pay based upon your usage. So based upon the file size, based upon your usage, you are going to pay. That's called as pay as you use. And because of these reasons, we are going to use for infrequently accessed data or for documents which are rarely accessed, you are going to use or you are going to store the files either in Glacier or in the Glacier Deep Archival, because we can save lot and lots of amounts of money. Here, the price is not dependent on the size of the files, but the price is dependent on number of days that you are going to store. Okay, number of days that you are going to store. So that's about this particular thing. Now here, one last thing which I have to mention is, suppose let's say that you have the finance related inspection. Let's say on May 23rd, you have the inspection. Okay, the finance related team is coming to your office and they are going to verify the finance related documents. On May 23rd, you are going to have the inspection. Now, whenever a companies are having inspection, they will be informed prior so that they can arrange all the required documents or necessary documents. Now, when you are storing a file in Glacier or Glacier Deep Archival, how much time before you have to tell to AWS that I want these files? When you are storing in Glacier Deep Archival, 12 hours before you have to keep a request to AWS. Then it will process the request in 12 hours. Then it will make the files available for you, ready for the inspection. Suppose let's say tomorrow you have inspection. So today or yesterday, you have to raise a request to AWS that, okay, on so and so date, I need these files. Then the AWS will keep you the files ready so that you can download the files after a minimum wait time of 12 hours. Similarly, here also, based upon the time that you are going to give. So that's the entire concept of storage classes.